Hey, this is the Blackwell Panda, and today I want to unbox and review for you guys this Microsoft Natural Ergonomic 4000 keyboard. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so here we have the keyboard. This is the Microsoft Natural Ergonomic 4000 keyboard, and it's designed in a way that's supposed to allow your hands and your wrists and your forearms to sit in a comfortable, natural position when you're using the keyboard. This is especially useful if you do a lot of programming like I do, or even if you do a lot of gaming, just because, you know, when your wrist, especially, including your hand, ends up in a position of tension or an uncomfortable position for a long period of time, as is normal with a standard keyboard in gaming or programming, and especially if you do a lot of repetitive movements in those positions, that is a good way to end up with wrist problems, things like carpal tunnel especially. So this just helps prevent that in the long run. Just makes it a lot more comfortable, especially if you get random wrist pains like I do sometimes. But let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll see just what it looks like, what all's in the box. And I'm doing this on my 3D printer, in case you're wondering what this white box is. Alright, so this is what the box looks like that it comes in here. We've got the keyboard here, and then we've also got a couple of pamphlets, manual, and the warranty. So I'm going to set the manual and the warranty aside, and we're going to take the keyboard out of this bag. Just toss the bag out of the way for now. And we'll move this box out of the way as well. And this is the keyboard. Oop, I'm not going to bother taking the bag off the cord. But let's take a look here. You can see how it's contoured, like so. And I'll give you a nice little side view here. So, yeah, it's a very interesting design, very carefully thought out design to make it a lot easier on your wrist and your hands. The keys are, of course, split, and if you've learned to touch type, like most programmers will, and even a lot of people who've just taken computer classes in school, then the split keys will not be a problem at all. If you type with just like one finger, on one hand, or even one finger on each hand, it still shouldn't be much of a problem. You just might have a moment where, you're looking for one of the keys that would normally be in the middle, but of course it's going to be off to one side or the other. But for me, I learned to touch type when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, so this will be pretty easy for me. But you can see that where it's split, it's actually contoured like so. Just to get your wrist to set at a comfortable angle. And there's a sort of a plastic bar here to raise the keyboard up off of the surface of the desk to make it more comfortable. And this wrist rest here, which actually a forearm rest, you shouldn't rest your wrist necessarily so much as you should your palm or your forearm. But this feels like a plastic leather sort of material, like a fake leather or something like that. But it is soft, it's cushioned. We've got indicator LEDs down here, and that's pretty nice. Normally they're up at the top corner, that's where most people are familiar with them being. But down here is actually very useful because it's a lot easier to see, especially on this raised surface, like so. That's going to make it a little bit easier to tell, if you got caps lock or num lock or scroll lock or whatever on at a glance. And then we've got back and forward buttons. We've got a zoom slider right here, which I'm pretty sure can be programmed. So you can make it like a scroll slider if you wanted. All these keys are programmable. But we've got media keys along the top, all your standard media keys with a big favorites button right in the middle. And your F keys, which double as more media or programmable or useful keys like undo and redo, new, open, close, reply, etc., etc. And of course the numpad on the right for people who prefer the numpad like I do, just because, again, I learned to touch type, and I also learned to touch type with the numpad, so I can do that with my right hand very easily. But there's also, this is interesting, above the numpad, we actually have an equals key, left and right parentheses, and a left caret key. So that's different. You don't usually see that on a keyboard, but just provides you with more keys, more convenience. That's going to be useful for people who want to do a lot of operations on the numpad, like data entry or calculations, having those keys right there. So there doesn't appear to be any cable routing mechanisms on the back, but we do have, of course, the feet that are hinged, so you can lift the keyboard, top of the keyboard here, up higher off the desk. And yeah, that seems to be about it. It is a USB keyboard, wired, so no batteries, which I prefer, because I don't like dealing with batteries. So let's go ahead and plug this in and see how well it works.
Alright, so I've got the keyboard hooked up, and we're going to go ahead and just go through real quick and test type just a standard quick brown fox sentence, because it includes every letter. So let's go ahead and see how well this works. Pull up Notepad here. Alright, that worked beautifully. No typos at all. So I'm just going to try a couple other test phrases here. Hello. Oh, I typoed. My name is the Black Belt Panda. Pretty good. Let's see. All your base are belong to us. Yeah, so no typos. I'm not getting any typos at all. That's good. Generally, with a keyboard in a different format like this, typos are pretty common until you get used to it. And I mean, this thing's working pretty good right off the bat. It's very comfortable. The wrist rest here, resting palms on actually, is very, very comfortable. It is cushioned, very nice. The contour is very comfortable. The slight angle that your hands sit at is a lot nicer than just kind of being flat out on like a regular keyboard. Since they're kind of angled like that, it's more of a natural hand position. So that's nice. I haven't played with any of the hotkeys. I won't do that on video just because I'm going to reprogram them anyway. A lot of these keys I'll never use. So that's more of a personal thing. If you guys want to leave the keys, if you get this keyboard, if you want to leave the keys as they are, or if you want to reprogram them yourselves, like the zoom key, for example, I highly doubt I'm going to use that as a zoom key. I will most likely change that to something a little more useful, like a scroll or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's basically it for this keyboard. I highly recommend it. It's very comfortable. It'll save your wrists in the long run by putting them at a much more natural angle and position. Help reduce your chances of getting like carpal tunnel, for example. If you do a lot of typing like I do, that is very important to consider. So thanks for watching. This is the Black Belt Panda, and I will see you in the next video.